Up to 80% of Russia's territory is considered a high-risk farming zone, where the weather is often harsh and the soil is far from fertile. But farmers are managing to increase production with the help of modern technology, advanced plant breeding, and fertilizers. We will now show you the companies doing everything possible to ensure a good harvest every year. Here is our first story. Made in Russia. Some might say aesthetics aren't the most important thing for a tractor, but this beast from St. Petersburg certainly leaves an impression. You can see immediately that he is the king of the fields. In addition to looking good, it is also very smart, meaning it is unmanned. How much of the production is domestic, and who is working on it? We'll tell you right now. After the digital work of the designers is done, the work with fire begins. Red-hot metal at 1,350 degrees Celsius. The foundry. This is the foundation of full-cycle production. Here, they manufacture the parts themselves. The history of the Kirov Plant began in 1801 with the casting of a cannonball. The Petersburg tractor plant is part of this group of companies. They work in family dynasties here. For example, Victor, the shop foreman, has been here since 1983. This veteran of labor has seen many different eras. These are tough times now, but it is a time of opportunity. In a crisis, you can launch new production lines. That is why the plant is currently undergoing a major planned reconstruction, including at the foundry. While we previously used only sand-clay mixtures, we have now switched to cold-setting resins, and we are even looking closely at 3D printing. Experience plus new technologies. Prizes for innovation. Got an idea? Share it. The production cycle is complete. Cooperation is developing. In particular, we used to use a German engine, but now, our domestic engine is made by the Tetevsky motor plant. We are also actively working with Kamaz. They have created a new motor, the R6 engine series. Next year we plan to introduce those as well. The plant produces several models of tractors. The flagship is the K7. It features engines of varying capacities. We also have, so to speak, its younger brother. The fifth model is a little smaller. The fifth model runs 250 to 300 horsepower. The seventh model runs 300 to 460 horsepower. Currently, the plant produces more than 2,500 tractors a year, but it can produce much more, provided there is demand. Expectations are roughly at the level of last year's volumes. Here, of course, the key rate has an impact on demand. I think it affects the enterprise's development. Of course, according to the Rospit Smash Association, for the last 9 months, sales of agricultural machinery in Russia, including tractors, fell by 26%. Farmers say it is crucial to maintain state support. The Ministry of Agriculture stated that subsidies from Rosagroliasing may increase to 12 billion rubles. In addition to domestic demand, exports provide good support for production. We supply neighboring countries, such as Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan, where they speak very highly of our equipment. Last year, the volume of agricultural machinery supplies to foreign markets began to recover. First Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov has instructed the Ministries of Industry, Agriculture, and Finance to work with the central bank on additional export support measures. In this regard, the experience of the Russian Export Center is a revealing example. It has many support measures in its arsenal, from training and exhibition participation to the reimbursement of logistics costs. In 10 years, they have helped over 70,000 companies, including agricultural producers. Moreover, by supplying products abroad, companies invest in the Russian economy and implement social and educational projects. This was discussed during the working meeting between the chairman of the Federation Council, Valentina Matvienko, and the Director General of the REC, Veronika Nikishina. I would like to thank you, as the head of the Russian Export Center, for the tremendous work you are doing. You know, I think it is in higher demand than ever. Under the sanctions and restrictions, there is a need to support our business, which produces completely competitive goods in various areas. And not everyone manages to break through, so to speak. I want to stress that non-commodity, non-energy exports are important for our country, not only as a driver of economic development, but as a serious social driver for our development. And it is a very important geopolitical element of Russia's connectivity with world markets. It is a serious factor in the competitiveness of our product development. Take these tractors, for example. If you help compensate the cost so we don't lose out on price in foreign markets, our machines remain competitive. It is modern and driver-friendly. It has an air suspension seat, so you don't get shaken on rough ground. Music, air conditioning, and a refrigerator. You can even control it with a joystick. Autopilot. There's a system for that. The Kirovets agro-pilot system does the job for the driver. He just sets the route, presses the button, and the tractor drives itself. So he can drink some tea? Yes, he can even drink tea meanwhile. With great pleasure. After all, the plant doesn't live by tractors alone. They produce industrial machinery, graders, heavy tractors, and snowblowers. The plant is preparing to offer new models. A tractor rated at 600 horsepower, and a second development related to import substitution. It replaces the classic 300 to 350 horsepower tractor for inter-row work. We need personnel. To solve this difficult issue, the plant cooperates with universities and colleges, developing targeted training programs. It is important that the education system can train specialists. We increased the target admission figures for the college. That is 3,100 additional students over 2 academic years. We formed 7 educational and production clusters under the Federal Professionalate Priority Program. In 2024, 4 educational training grounds were launched based on a cluster model. This includes the first educational factory in cooperation with Power Machines. This is a first in Russia. We have initiated a program for the modernization of the college's infrastructure and equipment. And next, we'll talk about new technologies that help in agriculture. Let's go to Omsk. It is obvious, in principle, that drones are the future. And we're not even talking about military applications. But, for example, these vertical takeoff airplanes from Omsk, they can be useful in geodesy, transportation surveillance, or construction. There are many fields of application, and now we will tell you more about them. Civilian drone manufacturing was born 2 years ago as a division of a company that was already a pro in aerial photography. It monitors water bodies with water drones and creates cartographic orthophoto maps and digital terrain models. As the complexity of the tasks grew, so did the needs. We decided against buying foreign drones, choosing to make our own instead. Enthusiasts built a hybrid of an airplane and a quadricopter. It can stay in the air for over an hour, and it doesn't need a runway. It's a development model. We haven't even shown it to anyone yet, not even ourselves. We are currently waiting on the air operator certificate. Previous models have already proven themselves in the field. In agriculture, for example, the health of the land is clearly visible from a bird's eye view. The flood zones are plain as day. In construction, it's possible to create a 3D model of a city or a digital twin of an enterprise. It is possible to observe from more than just the air. This catamaran is already on autopilot. It gathers info about bottom depths, sediments, the shoreline, landslides, and erosion. Also, a unified system of drone identification is being created in the country, which is being tested on Omsk products as well. This one. Well, here it is, the module. The module is called ADSB, or ASIAN-V in Russian terminology. And such a wing, with vertical takeoff, is being tested. We've launched it, we've flown it, and it even tried to land. But that's all that's left of it after the tests. But now we're testing one of these, and it's made of styrofoam. So only wings and feet remain? Yes, we made the wings for this one a little wider, thinking it would be more stable. They want to expand production. An unmanned aircraft systems center is about to open in the oblast. It's going to have 2,000 square meters of space where we can set up production. While we are waiting for that to happen, we'll be considering that option. The company from Omsk is also looking at foreign markets. We have received a voluntary Made in Russia certificate. This is a promotion program from the Russian Export Center that helps with trade shows abroad, marketplaces, business missions, and exhibitions. For example, an international exhibition of imported goods recently opened in Shanghai, where 78 companies are participating under the Made in Russia brand. The prospects in this market are strong. Recently, during Mikhail Mishustin's working visit to China, he met with the chairman of the People's Republic of China and a number of documents were signed. The results were summarized in Moscow. In humanitarian cooperation, satellite navigation, investments in our economy, and areas like energy and transportation. A lot of decisions were made to expand access to the Chinese market for Russian agricultural products. We will continue to work on all key sectors of cooperation with China. Trade turnover of agricultural products in the first 9 months of this year increased by 10%. Leading the list are ice cream, fish, and rapeseed oil. By the way, over the past 10 years, the REC has supported exports worth more than $18 billion. Unfortunately, part of the market in 2022 was lost for our exporters. Reorientation and the search for new export opportunities became a forced but necessary action for our companies. Now, about 85% of the company's portfolio consists of markets in friendly countries. And this export strategy is about not losing these markets and not being pushed out by our competitors. Cooperation is also developing in science, in the creation of intelligent technology and precision farming. There are projects between the Timorayev Academy and Chinese Agricultural University. And now, a story from Moscow about how digital technology helps agriculture. How do you grow a good crop? Or, for example, how do you increase milk production? Or how do you train a farmer? Or tell him about possible measures of government support? How do you protect important data? Russian digital solutions from a company in Moscow help with all of these issues. You are about to find out for yourself. Just 3 years ago, many IT solutions in agriculture were formed. This created threats to data security. In 2023, by government directive, this company came into existence. We are the only supplier for the Ministry of Agriculture of the Russian Federation regarding the development of state information systems and ensuring information security. We are also the industry's digitalization center. We gather industry expertise and create domestic solutions. Let me give you some examples. At the beginning of summer, such a solution entered the market. In Tatarstan, together with our partners Rostelecom and the RI's company, we made a digital platform that collects data from private weather stations. The system detects natural hazards and pest activity in the fields. The data will help agrarians prove insurance claims and receive payments. Now I'd like to mention another decision we made regarding the Agro Academy, which we released just this past October. This is a system that students and faculty, primarily from agricultural universities, are now using. It allows them to train in both digital transformation and working with government information systems, which is very important for our industry. The Ministry of Agriculture, Roselkosnadzor, and Razorbalovstvo use 33 state systems. It's about seeds, fertilizers, livestock, and land. They feel like a fish in water. Simulators help with this information flow. Farmers are also supported by the Agroport platform. We are releasing it for industrial use in December. It will be a single, unified environment where any of our farmers can see all the digital solutions currently available for our industry. It's a navigator so that the farmer does not feel like a tester of digital solutions, but rather receives a proven product from an industry competence center. As an example, Milk 2.0. This is our domestic system for managing cattle herds, and it is being rolled out across the industry. Currently, farmers are reporting a 20 to 30% increase in milk yields across their farms. Another example, Agro Holding Dom 8 uses artificial intelligence in production where sterility is extremely important. It monitors how thoroughly the employee washes their hands. Other developments help in enterprise management. This is about managing crop production, which increases yields by 5 to 20%. In other words, these are very significant figures. Artificial intelligence is helping with plant diseases, pests, and crop forecasts. Systems are being developed for oil extraction, fat mills, and sugar mills. In October, the company presented its developments at the Golden Autumn exhibition at the Timirayev Center. They say data is the oil, the gold, the platinum of the 21st century. Now, if you'll allow me, I could paraphrase that it is both the cradle and the breadbasket of our food security, and the wellspring of clean water for the 21st century. Because today, predictive analytics and AI capabilities will help the agricultural sector work very effectively. Thank you for these solutions. Good luck to you. In Russia's agro-industrial complex, approximately 40% of companies use digital technologies. The goal is to bring this figure up to 90% by 2030. Seeing the prospects, the company is going to move to a bigger office. We have made a huge leap. A leap both in the creation of domestic solutions and in creating demand for them. Digitalization is a tool that should allow us to increase production and reduce costs. There is also export potential. It involves cybersecurity, various IT solutions, and unmanned vehicles, both aerial and automotive. These are various newly emerging sectors of our technological leadership, where we see an important link between domestic development and export potential. The hero of our next story from the Omsk region is also open to innovation. The milking is underway as the golden fields are being harvested. Everything goes as it should in the agrarian life of one of the largest agricultural producers in the Omsk region. But for the development of the country and food security, more is needed. Breeding is necessary. This enterprise is actively engaged in exactly that. Now you will learn more. With more than 4,000 cows, if we take all farms, we milk more than 90 tons of milk a day. Farming in the Siberian climate is already a challenge. This breeding farm has bred its own, more cold-hardy breed of cows. They've gone up in productivity, and they have grown in terms of weight gain per head. The planting areas are also growing, where new varieties are appearing. We work with Omsk breeding. As for wheat, in our fields is the Pavlogradka variety. It was named in honor of our district settlement. And in order to do these things fruitfully, we built this elite family complex. We received a state subsidy for this. And to make sure that the grain is not wasted, the drying complex has undergone a major reconstruction. The British used to supply it, and someone else supplied such dryers, but today Voronezh does. We are betting on Russian equipment: tractors, combines, and fertilizer spreaders. We have switched about 70% of our crop protection products to Russian companies. Fertilizers are 100% ours, Russian. Well, to keep the population working here isn't easy, so it's important to create good conditions. We have preserved kindergartens in villages, schools, houses of culture, and clubs. Today, we're helping our employees buy homes. All this in order to produce and sell more. To increase demand, the farmers suggest selling the old grain from state storehouses abroad at a discount and keeping our own, new grain. We will sell grain to you at the same price, and the same amount of grain would be in these elevators. But you would have saved us, and trade would have started. They also try to develop trade externally. They deliver to Kazakhstan, to China. Support for logistics is very much in demand. And in the new national project, International Cooperation and Export, it has been retained. Here we will create new transportation corridors. And a subsidy will be provided to logistics operators for this purpose. We've already launched it this year, gathered market feedback, and figured out what improvements are needed. I'm confident that starting next year, it will really take off. The contribution of Russian farmers to global food security is big, but the domestic market is a priority. There is an interesting example in Kamchatka. Kamchatka is a region with difficult transportation accessibility, which, naturally, affects prices, particularly for food. So that cucumbers and tomatoes don't cost a fortune, this state-of-the-art greenhouse was built. Let's see how eternal summer works in the midst of volcanoes. An important facility for the region that created more than 100 jobs was built in an empty field in less than 2 years. The full-cycle facility was funded by an investor, but the government support we received was primarily because we are located in a priority development area. This is how we were granted the land plot. For residents of the priority development area, there is tax relief and social benefits. In addition, a road has been built for all residents of the area. But construction is still only half the job. Complex equipment had to be set up to automatically maintain the climate, control lighting and hydroponics, and manage the irrigation. We prepare the exact nutrient solution needed to get the desired fruit quality, taste, and speed of ripening. As a result, neat rows of tomatoes of 3 varieties and 2 types of cucumbers appeared. Also peppers. So far not so much, as experimentation is still going on. They are probably as sweet as cherry peppers, or even sweeter. The greenhouse complex employees emphasize they don't fight pests with chemicals, but with the help of beneficial insects. Can I pick a tomato and just taste it? Yes. And believe me, it will be delicious. As long as you don't eat the beneficial insects, right? Don't worry, they're already scared of you and ran away. This year they will harvest 2,800 tons of vegetables. Next year, the plan is bigger. The entire harvest goes the same day to Kamchatka's shelves. Thanks to the infrastructural and tax support, we were able to realize a large greenhouse complex for Kamchatka. It covers 60% of the demand for cucumbers and tomatoes. And even now we can see that the price has dropped by half. A twofold price reduction for the residents of Kamchatka is significant for a remote region where tomatoes are often more rare than our native produce. This is truly tangible, and we can all see its effects now. The experience can be replicated, which is what the group of companies is doing. We have a total of 64 hectares of greenhouse space. This is a greenhouse complex in the Komi Republic, the Chuvash Republic, and Perm Krai. We are part of the greenhouse holding Teplitsa regions. For example, in the Komi Republic, the area of greenhouses is almost 12 hectares. And although the area in Kamchatka is considerably smaller, the social effect is great. This example applies to all the heroes of our program. Whether it's a large factory or a small business, everyone contributes to the broader mission of food security.